when we look at the Elite Eight games, we had 3 blowouts and an all-time classic. Does it make up for the 3 other games? The UConn Duke finish in the second half of that contest yesterday.
I can't believe, Chris, that I'm saying these words. Thank God for Duke. Thank God for Duke. Thank God for that epic collapse. Because otherwise, we were looking at 4 blowouts.
Yeah.
We were looking at 4 epic, just horrible games. We were looking at games on Saturday where Arizona was just going to run away with it the entire game. You know, that Purdue was winning, and then Arizona just put the pedal onto the gas in the second half. And then Illinois they're in the second half of games, they've just been able to turn it on. And that's what they did in the second half against Iowa. And they had a nice run throughout the tournament, beating Florida. And then on Sunday, Michigan that wasn't even a game from the jump. Congrats on showing up, Tennessee. But Michigan just looks like absolutely the best team in the tournament so far, just as good as Arizona. That's going to be a great game in the Final Four. But then thank God for Duke and UConn giving us a show as the final game of the weekend yesterday, because I don't know if that was UConn showing up in the second half. I don't know if it was Duke collapsing in the second half. Either way, it ended up being a classic game with a classic moment with Braylon Mullins hitting a great shot, a 3 of all 3s to clinch a win for UConn after you feel for him, but a boneheaded play by Caden Boozer to just end it. And you feel for the kid because he's only 18 years old, but it's a moment that he will never be able to live down. But the shot by Mullins, and it goes in, and UConn's moving on to their third Final Four in 4 years.
All right, so the way to look at it, right? Like, if you are a Duke fan today and you're in this play, like, the fact that clearly Shire wanted the ball to move. He wanted it to hop to run out the clock. If you hold on to the ball, you get fouled. At least you get a chance to make a free throw and to at least go up 3.
Yeah.
So a 3 would tie the game. Obviously, you make both free throws, you win the game. Game's over. Hold on to the ball. So Caden Boozer frantically trying to get rid of the ball. Now, if he is able to make the pass over the top, the game's over. Mm-hmm. There are no defenders in the front court. So everyone for UConn was right there at center court. They tip the pass. They get the ball back. Mullins at 3. I mean, you want to talk about an all-time classic. 35 feet away. It was wet. That seriously, the ball hit only net.
Yeah.
Like, it was a no-doubter from the moment it went through the bucket. Like, that was incredible. Take a listen to how this sounded on Westwood One Sports yesterday.
72-70, Duke by 2. Sarr to key the inbound now. Full court pressure from UConn. Sarr gets it into Cam Boozer. Boozer back to Sarr. Now ahead to Caden Boozer, and UConn got a steal. Caravan for Mullins. Long 3. He got it! Oh, he got it! He hit it! He hit the long three-pointer from the logo with 0.3 of a second left to go. I don't believe it. UConn has taken the lead with 0.3 of a second left to go in a mad scramble off a steal. Braylon Mullins nails the three-pointer, and the UConn Huskies are 0.3 of a second away from a trip back to the Final Four. Unbelievable.
There you go. Scott Graham on the call. Westwood One Sports. It was unbelievable, and a great call that was, as UConn goes up 73-72, 0.3 seconds left on the clock for Duke. Unable to come back and win it after that dagger of a 3 went down for the Huskies. You can find out and listen to all of our Westwood One coverage of the NCAA tournament on the Westwood One Sports app, especially this weekend for the Final Four. And also, Bleck Abdalla, we will be there at the Final Four this weekend. So, yeah, it was incredible. What a shot. Absolute chaos after that shot went in. And I have seen some in college basketball circles, mainly leaning towards Dookie land, those who are fans of the Blue Devils who would have liked a technical foul called after that 3 went down. I'm serious. That's out there. There are people out there who think that a technical foul should have been called because if you watch the replay, the bench erupts and players and coaches are on the court. And by the letter of the rule, a technical should be called if people who are not in the game are on the court. With that said, I'm glad that the officials didn't want to be a part of the action and that they just allowed that to take place. You lost, Duke. That's the case. You lost. Don't turn the ball over 10 seconds ago. Hold on to it. Shoot your free throws. Move on to the Final Four. Yeah. It was a terrible turnover by Boozer at midcourt, and what a shot. It was awesome. I'm on the side of you don't call a technical foul when a play like that takes place. That's crazy.
No, you absolutely don't. I thought that Duke played the end of the game perfectly. You're up 3, you foul early. You let them try to shoot through 2 free throws. So then you're down, and then you get the ball back, and then you play the foul game back and forth. And they played that right.
Yes.
They played that end of game situation correctly. I believe that when you're up 3 and your opponent gets the ball back, you foul. Because then they only have the opportunity to score 2. You get the ball back. They have to foul. You can go up at least 1 or 2 again, and then so on and so forth. And then you play that long foul game that goes back and forth for seemingly never-ending amount of time. And then the game usually ends in your favor. Unless this happens.
Unless the turnover at midcourt.
Unless this happens and you get a game of, 17 and 18-year-olds who panic in moments like this. And that's exactly what happened to Caden Boozer. And this happens. And, shout out to UConn. And again, this is a testament to UConn and the ability to just chip away at this deficit that they faced and come back in the game. And Duke was slowly pulling away again. And then UConn didn't panic and just steadied the ship and came back and slowly came back and slowly came back. And eventually this was a tie game, and this worked out in their favor. And, Danny Hurley is a great coach. And once again, going back to the Final Four, the 3rd time in 4 years, has an opportunity to win his 3rd national championship in 4 years, something that hasn't been done since UCLA in the 70s.
Yeah.
That's how good of a coach he is. And I will tell you, we talked last week about how insufferable he can be. I might have flipped this weekend.
Wait, you flipped already?
I might have flipped on him this weekend. And it was one moment. It was one singular moment that might have endeared me to Danny Hurley. And it was a moment where he was talking to a ref, and he took his glasses off and he offered them to a ref. And then if you slowed down what he was saying, he said to the ref, "Have you tried LASIK? You know, that laser thing." And I lost it. And I go, nope, that's it. I'm a Hurley fan now.
What about it?
The gall to say that to a ref.
Well, that's great. That's creative. I love that.
Exactly. To take off your glasses, to offer them to a ref in the middle of a game, and then say, "Have you considered LASIK? You know, that laser thing."
Right.
I'm a Hurley fan now. That's awesome.
So I don't know. Is there a real video after the game, after the shot went in? He walked up to one of the refs and did a headbutt.
That's going around
is that
too.
A real video, or is that doctored?
I don't know.
How is that a real video?
I'm seeing that. That's technical worthy.
The guy's a lunatic. What is this?
Usually you get tossed for that stuff.
You know what I'm talking about? It's a video.
Yes.
Clearly the shot just went down because his jacket is off one of his shoulders.
Yes.
And if you watch the replay, in all the chaos of the assistants and players kind of on stepping onto the floor and then holding each other back, his jacket, the one shoulder gets pulled off. So it's hanging off of his shoulder, but he's still wearing the jacket.
Yeah.
And he walks up to an official and they go forehead to forehead.
Yeah.
And he just stares him down. And then he walks away. What?
I don't know.
What the hell is wrong with this guy?
It's been everywhere.
It's incredible.
I believe.
Is that a real video?
I believe that if it wasn't, we would have found out that it's doctored by now.
By now?
Yeah, by now we would have found out that it's doctored. But the glasses thing for me, that I was like, okay, that's that. I'm a Hurley fan now.
Well, the glasses, talking to the official and offering up your glasses and then asking about LASIK, That reminds me of old school baseball managers who used to have creative thoughts for umpires.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Before
Like,
they get tossed. Yeah.
But like this, I'm talking about before we got to just people saying you're a blanker.
Yes.
You know, and just like straight up swearing at officials
Yes.
or whatever. And, you know, in baseball, there's a couple words that you can't say, and the moment you say that you
You're out.
utter, you're gone. You're thrown out of the game. And like the offering up of glasses reminds me of like old timey baseball manager waddling out to home plate and then like not saying a word, taking the glasses off and just saying, "Have you tried these?"
It's like when you used to dust off the plate and
Yes.
point to the plate and be like,
Yes,
"This is." You
there's
realize
the
this
plate.
is here. It's here.
The
These are
plate
the
is here.
measurements of the plate. Handing the glasses and offering LASIK. That's so good. It's great. And now I think I'm a Hurley fan now.
Hey, you can't argue with the level of success that UConn has had, especially in the last 25 years. I mean, Connecticut basketball from one generation to the next has become the powerhouse in college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And we can talk about all of the different blue bloods and who's the bluest of blue bloods
bluest.
when it comes to college basketball. But here's what Connecticut has done here since 2000. You know, they won the 1999 NCAA championship. That was their first. Since that point, when they got their first title in 99, they have won titles in 2004, 2011, 2014, 2023, 2024. They went back to back, Dan Hurley as the coach, now going for his third. I mean, the fact that they have gotten to 6 Final Fours or 8 Final Fours since 1999.
Yeah.
That they are the biggest program in college basketball. They're the best program in college basketball. I know people on Tobacco Road are flipping out over these comments right now, Josh Graham. But Connecticut is the best school in college basketball for the last 20 to 30 years. That's the fact
Yes.
of the situation.
Yes.
And now it sets the scene for an incredible Final Four, because what we have here is we have teams with great fan bases. We've got teams who have not won in a while. We have a team that has won in a while. So Connecticut, Michigan, Illinois, Arizona. If we look at the 3 other games, which are blowouts to get to this point, it is no doubt in my mind, and we talked about this on Friday with Jason Horowitz, that Arizona and Michigan throughout this tournament have been the 2 best teams. And they showed it once again in the Elite Eight that Michigan and Arizona are the 2 best teams in this tournament. Michigan scoring 90-plus points in every single game, winning every single game by over 20 points. They're just steamrolling teams. And Arizona, equally as impressive on their run to the Final Four. And I think that sets up the game on Saturday night, because that's the second game of the 2 in the Final Four. Michigan, Arizona, that I think a lot of people are going to say this week that the winner of that game is likely to win the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and I think that, Michigan has maybe had a little bit of an easier run to get to this point. Obviously they had to face Alabama. Alabama didn't have their second leading scorer because he got into some legal issues. Having a lot of weed on him. A lot of weed.
Yes.
Intent to distribute. Wasn't able to play. And then they faced Tennessee, and absolutely that wasn't even a game from the start. Arizona did have to come from behind in their game against Purdue over the weekend. They were down 38-31 at the half, ended up beating them, 79-64. They held them to 26 points in the second half. So just put on a great game in the second half. So Arizona, I think, has also played really well in this tournament. They've been a little bit more tested, but they've been the better team throughout the regular season. I mean, they only had 2 losses. They had 2 back-to-back losses earlier in the season against Kansas and Texas Tech back in mid-February. So this team has been playing really well throughout the season. It should be a great game in the Final Four. UConn is actually an underdog going into the Final Four against Illinois, a slight underdog, 1.5 points to Illinois. Illinois has been playing really well. This team, they played each other way back earlier in the year. UConn won that game, so some people will think it's surprising that UConn is an underdog in this game, but Illinois has played a lot better, as of late than they were way back earlier in the season when these two teams met up before. But I do think that if Illinois or UConn, obviously UConn and Hurley, if he gets to the national championship game, like he knows what it's like to be here. Like he knows how to get there. He knows what it's like to go through this week. I feel like everybody that we've talked to, all of our analysts that we've talked to, former coaches that have done this, talk about what it's like to go through this week. Like the planning and the winning 2 games in 3 days and the all the media and everything. Hurley's going to know how to get these guys through this. I don't think anybody else is going to know how to do that. You know, Hurley's going to get these guys and be like, hey, here's what you have to do to deal with the media, all the press, all that kind of stuff. Everybody else is kind of new to all of this. Hurley's dealt with all this a lot.
Well, Dusty May took FAU
yes
to the Final Four.
Yeah, but not the level.
But this group was obviously not with them there.
Exactly. And then you've got, Arizona hasn't been there. Illinois hasn't been there. So you've got coaches that aren't used to this. Hurley's the only one that has the pedigree of this.
So as we set our sights on next weekend, the Final Four on Saturday, live from Indianapolis. The one thing that I think is going to be a storyline as we get towards the weekend throughout this week is you got 2 schools in the Midwest that are within driving distance of Indianapolis. First of all, Champaign, Illinois, where the University of Illinois is, that can't be longer than like an hour and a half ride. From Champaign to Indy, that town next week is going to be painted orange. I'm just... You mentioned to the show last week that you thought Illinois had a fan base that's underrated in college basketball. But the fact that you don't even have to get on a flight to get to Indy and you can just drive down 74 to get there, I think that you're going to see a lot of orange and a lot of Illini fans in Indianapolis this weekend. And then obviously Ann Arbor isn't too far away. It's almost the equal drive that you and I will make on Wednesday to get down there. So you're going to see a lot of Michigan support, a lot of Illinois support, and then obviously Connecticut, big time powerhouse program, and Arizona. Arizona hasn't been to the Final Four since 2001. So I think this weekend, this is a really good Final Four. And you started the conversation off by saying thank you to Duke because they are insufferable. I do not like Dukies. Now, Shire's good, and there are individuals that I respect. But Coach K and the Duke Blue Devils, I'm Duke. My team. John, you should have held on to the ball, John. This is my team.
You need to sit out a year. I'm coaching for a year now. You sit out.
So I think it'll be a great Final Four. It's exciting. I can't wait to get down there Wednesday night. You and I will be there, and then we will broadcast live from Radio Row and the Final Four on Thursday and Friday of this week. Now, the one other item that I do want to mention before we move on with the college basketball conversation, Raj Sharon, our super producer here on Bleck Abdalla, is back this week. Hello, Raj. Raj is back. Hey, Raj is back.
I didn't get
now,
Wally
here on the show.
Yeah,
You're back. Come on, Raj.
Come on.
The key card worked today.
Quite the dated reference, too. Like, I understand what the Wally Pip is, but I'm sure there's a lot of young people who have no idea what we're saying.
I wasn't alive for Wally Pip either. I just know the reference.
Yes, correct. So on the show, we have our bracket challenge. It's called Beat the Raj.
Beat the Raj.
So we have brackets. Bleck Abdalla, we put together our bracket. Raj has his bracket. Raj, the sad news for you heading into the Final Four is Bleck Abdalla, we have beat the Raj. We have beat the Raj. We beat the Raj.
You had enough help. I mean, geez.
Bleck Abdalla, we to this point have won 47 games here in the NCAA tournament, and Raj has won 39. Now, Raj, you do.
So even if Duke hadn't choked, because I picked Duke to win the whole thing, I still couldn't have caught you, could I?
Nope.
No, the most you could have scored if Duke would have won is you could have gotten to 42 points.
Okay.
Now, Bleck Abdalla, we still have Arizona winning the national title. Mm-hmm. So we have 2 more points out there because if Arizona gets to the title game and they win, we could get to 49, but with the rest of the bracket, we don't have anyone on the side of the South or the East. We had Houston and Michigan State getting to the Final Four, we do have Michigan. So we had Michigan and Arizona. Raj, your Final Four was Duke, Nebraska, Virginia, Arizona.
Yeah,
Not pretty.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
pretty.
Arizona,
And you know
all
what's
right.
funny?
Yeah, Arizona.
I remember
Arizona.
all having Illinois. And then I was like, you know what? I'll go with Nebraska because those guys are in Illinois, and I got to find some differentiating picks. And I speculate. I overthought it, guys. I should have just put the Illini in. I mean,
You
not if
did.
it would have helped me,
Yeah.
but.
It's all right. But so there you go. There's the Beat the Raj update. Yes.